Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Mazzeo, and I love surfing, and I get to surf weekly, usually. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about something that I found helpful in being able to improve my surfing, and that is a way to practice pop ups. And you may be thinking, oh, I will practice this on a mat, or I'll practice this on the beach or on the sand. And all those techniques are really great for being able to work on getting up to your feet and enjoy riding down the line on a wave. I'm going to talk about a technique that I use at home. So, first, we think about where you want to do this type of pop up in your home or practice your takeoff in the home. And for me, it's very simple to place a surfboard on a bed. And in this case, it's a queen size bed but you can do it on different size beds if you like. Be careful about falling off, of course, and I have a caution or disclaimer at the end of this section of the video. But you are able to place the surfboard on the bed. I typically do it across the width of the bed and leave the fins hanging off the end. You're already surfing, so you're already used to having to keep track and take care of your balance. So there's no exception here. And you will need to make sure that you keep that board on the bed. Here is a video, if it works, of me demonstrating how you might go about doing this. So this is a wave storm, so nothing that fancy and nothing that I'm worried about damaging. And you can see kind of mimicking the paddling motion and then getting to my feet. And this is surfing weekly with weekly with an A. So, you don't necessarily expect my pop-ups to be perfect, but it gives you a general idea of how you can go about doing this. Now, when you're doing pop-ups, it's also a good idea to keep track of where you might be going. So you'll see on other tutorials that you want to be looking where you want to go. And this is true with surf skating, and it's true with pop-ups and going down the line or getting set up. So this is another example of me doing a pop-up, this time on a shorter board. This is an old NSP board, 6 foot 4 inches. And you see I'm kind of looking around, and then I was looking kind of straight forward in that case. And when I've done this, you can kind of target different parts. So maybe you have a lamp, or maybe you have a book, or something that's, within plus or minus 45 degrees of what you're looking at. And that will allow you to kind of get familiar with the idea of looking where you want to go. I also suggest thinking about looking behind you, getting used to that idea so that you're kind of getting yourself accustomed to seeing what the wave is doing and then making any last minute adjustments or last second adjustments that might be necessary. When you're first playing, of course, you're going to want to be paddling pretty much straight down toward the beach. But as you get going a little bit further, and I'm still in this phase, I'm looking around, I'm seeing, okay, where do I want to be? Where's the peak of the wave? How can I get there? One advantage of surfing this or practicing the pop-ups this way, oh, this is a real great clip I got, right? Is that you can hang your knees or your legs or your feet off the bottom of the surfboard. when you look at different pop-up techniques, whether it's chicken leg or kind of the standard pop-up, which I'm attempting to do here, the length of the board can have an effect. And if you're on a mat on your floor, or even if you just have a piece of tape on the floor and you're doing it, it's sometimes hard for me to know when I've practiced pop-ups that way whether or not my toes and my feet are contributing to my ability to get up to my feet without resting on my knees first. So it's actually helpful to have the back end of the board hanging off and your knees or your feet hanging off the back end of the board. If it's a short board, if it's a long board, of course, this is not going to be an issue. You should be able to have your toes on the board, but at least for practicing pop-ups on short boards, it gives you a very good idea if you're cheating per se with your feet, helping you get up or pop your body up as you are attempting to land on your feet. Another thing that I find fun about doing and practicing pop-ups this way is its customizability. So one thing that I found early on when I was doing pop-ups in the ocean on a wave is that there is often some tilt forward, right? And last week I talked about how I caught this bomb, which I often will wipe out on, but the pillows that you put underneath the back or the toward the end of the board allow you to control the amount of tilt. Okay, and this also actually makes it a little less stable side to side as well. And even a few degrees of tilt are surprising in how it makes you feel a little bit different and potentially a little less comfortable. So it's not a bad idea to kind of put these pillows near this region right here. You know, again, trying to practice, maybe looking a little goofy there, okay? And then, yes, it does, the pillows do get compressed, but my head is now more downward, and that feels a little bit more like I'm catching a true wave. The stability being a little bit less, you also have an opportunity to learn from mistakes or from falling off as you attempt to do this. So I think here are a few examples of me doing some pop-ups. I don't remember. I think it's maybe the second one I fall off on. And I'm also like I would like my feet to be more like on a skateboard. At least they say that can prevent injury, but so I'm not perfect. But here, so you see I fall off and like, oh, I gotta do a little bit better next time. I gotta keep practicing my takeoffs. Okay. And if you listen to people and you listen to the podcast from Surf Simply, they'll tell you how important it is, at least when you're doing shortboard riding, to make sure that your back foot is on that traction pad near the end of the board, near the back end of the board. And they talk about how, if you look at Jamie O'Brien, how he does that. So that's pretty much all the video and imaging I wanted to share with you about how to practice pop-ups on a surfboard on the bed in your own home. And I think it might be useful to some of you. I have also done pop-ups, placing the surfboard on a couple of stools, and that is a little less stable, so you want to be careful about it, and it's higher up, so the potential for falling could be greater. But it also allows you to hold dead weights in your hands if you like to kind of get something that's a little more similar to paddling before you pop up. And you see here, it's almost become a habit for me when I practice pop-ups to kind of practice some type of movement of the arms and then, get them under my chest before I do a pop-up. A couple of cautions, and I guess if you really wanted to go extreme and you want to continue to do this on a budget, you can maybe get some resistance bands and be doing it that way, and then let go of the resistance bands and pop up. I think there are a variety of ways of doing this, and I believe that being able to do these pop-ups at home makes a big difference. You can also do them practicing with boots on or gloves on to make sure you get a feel for what it will be like when you have to wear what can be inhibiting equipment or gear in terms of getting to your feet. Some cautions. I'm not responsible for you falling off the bed. Okay, so be careful with that. That said, I've had fun with the kids doing these pop-ups, and sometimes they like to, do 180s, jump up and kind of have fun on the surfboards on the beds. You can also practice jumping off the surfboard, I guess, off the bed. Again, be careful, but it gives you a little bit of idea of, okay, I'm going to bail. What should I do? What's a safe way to do this? And again, just kind of getting you used to the idea of, okay, when the surf ends or when that wave ends or when your time on the wave ends, you've got to jump off and away from the board. I showed how to do these practices on a soft top. That's an 8-foot wave storm, and also on a PU board. The benefits oh, I'm sorry, not on a PU board, on a on an NSP. So that's an expanded polystyrene board. It's an old one, but with epoxy. And so I'm not too concerned about adding pressure dents. But if you do this on a polyurethane board, which I have done, especially when I was testing out shorter boards to see how it would potentially be popping up on them, you want to be maybe a little more concerned about doing lots of repetitions because you can add pressure dents to your board. But on these boards, the ones I showed, there should not be an issue. Okay, great. So moving on, just a quick personal note on buying and selling used surfboards. I had the opportunity last week to sell another board. It was a 6-4 board that had been on marketplace for about 3 or 4 weeks. I'm just leaving it there, left it at $100. I bought it for $100, selling it for $100. It was old and yellowed and even had some cracks, but the person paid full price and they wanted it for their tiki bar and as decoration with the fins, which is how I advertised it. So I was happy to meet up with this person. I explained how you could remove the fins if you want to with an Allen wrench or key, and how you could remove the wax if you want to. And then later, this person sent me a picture of it hanging in their tiki bar from the ceiling. And what a great resting place for a board, especially an old used one, for which I wasn't even the first owner. I also sold a 7-4 board for about $90. I paid $90 for this board, but there had been some repairs that I had to pay for. It was a really nice board. And what's cool is that the buyer sent me a message saying they really liked it when they got to go surfing with it. So again, that felt kind of, well, maybe not again, but it felt gratifying to sell a board and have the person not feel like I was ripping them off. In fact, in that case, I had listed it for $100, but it was a student, so I gave them a $10 discount, even though they were willing to pay full price, which was nice of them. nice of that person. So once again, I'm an advocate. If you're going to do selling and purchasing of used boards on Marketplace, Craigslist, or different websites, I'm a fan of buy low, sell low. And I have my eyes out on using part of this. It's not really revenue, but part of this money to pay for the boards that I originally had to get something new. And I'm hoping that will happen in the next couple months. How was my last surfing session? Well, unfortunately, I didn't get to go surfing this past week. There was one morning that looked pretty good. Okay, that was on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, and I was busy. And then I was planning to go the next day, but it didn't happen because there was family stuff that, family reasoning, I guess I should say, that I did not go out. And I was actually kind of grateful because the waves looked really small that particular day. But I did do some surf skating, some swimming, and some jogging. And I'm hoping that the conditions this coming week will be a little bit more exciting and allow some better surf. Well, any surf is usually better. Any surf is better than no surf if you have the right attitude. And I didn't get to go surfing. So for this coming week, it's looking like Monday or Tuesday, according to one source, might be the time to go or the day to go. And I've opened up Monday. It looks good. The other source was suggesting Tuesday. I'm not sure if that's going to develop yet. There are also possibilities for tomorrow, Saturday. If you were to open this up, you see that there may be some 3-foot waves possible on this day. So they're just kind of coming more from the south than the waves they've shown here. But if you're on a south facing beach or somewhat south facing beach, they could be okay. They could be pretty nice. And we have some beaches that do face a little bit more toward the south. Other than that, I don't know when another good day will be to surf. I think that we can look at Thursday and Friday, a week from today, and be optimistic. I'm grateful that you've taken the time to listen to this live stream video with some thoughts on how to practice your pop-ups, follow up on buying and selling used surfboards, and a little idea of what the surf has to hold for us in central north New Jersey on the shore. And I look forward to doing this again next week. It's really fun for me to be able to just talk and nerd out on surfing. I normally would say let's move to Zoom. I think I even have a link, but I'm afternoon and I should probably take care of some of my responsibilities for work. So until the next time, have a good one. Thank you.